Joey Lucci of Field Steel Publications. Joey, welcome into the game.
Man, Martin, you know what? I found out that I'm going to be on the air with you like 3 minutes ago because I heard Ryan's out of town.
Yeah.
And my smile on my face, which is always there, just got a little bit bigger, man. It's always good to hear your voice. Thanks for having me on with you today.
Oh, man, thanks for being on with me. And, yeah, I get to sit in for Ryan every so often. And, you know, Joey, my show is 1 hour from 6 to 7 in the morning, 5 days a week, right?
All right.
Yeah. But I have to do 4 hours today. So I'm just so I'm not sure if I'm having to stretch today or if I'm condensing on Monday through Friday. I'm not sure which one it is, but anyway, man, I'm always glad when I have guests like you on because it makes my job a little easier because I can pull from your knowledge and expertise of the game. There's so much to talk about, but hey, let's go ahead. I know we don't play this week, but give me your thoughts and takeaways from this Alabama Crimson Tide team versus Texas A&M.
Exceeded my expectations. I mean, we were kind of talking. I didn't think it would be that close of a game, and it really wasn't. And the final score didn't even do it justice because the way they beat them was like 50-0, as opposed to the 33-14. Just impressed overall. I was talking to Ryan about this, and I'm looking at everything even keel. You know that, Martin. My job is to look at everybody, and I don't have a dog in the fight, so to speak, on anything. But when I look at Alabama through the first 8 games, they are the best team in the country. That's a step over everybody else. I think offensively, I'm more impressed with they have done defensively. And what I mean by that, we all knew that defense was going to be, we know what kind of defense we're going to field there and stuff like that. And maybe outside of Mississippi and Arkansas, where they let up a few more points than maybe they wanted to, but those are some pretty good offenses. That defense has been just rock solid all season long, and even in those games that they give up those points, they had the game well in hand. But offensively, that's where my biggest questions were with Alabama. The offensive line, the running game, especially quarterback, and they've exceeded and gone beyond those expectations.
Right.
And you look at it, we're 49, 30 points, 40. I mean, how many? What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5 times they've gone over the 48-point mark now. I mean, if so that's what really surprised me so far. And dealing with the adversity. Going back to the Mississippi game, being down in the first half, coming back and fighting through that. And then playing teams like Tennessee and Texas A&M the last couple of weeks, where everybody was like, "Oh, this is the week Alabama can lose because they're going to come out." They just answered everybody's question. They'll have a big one coming up next week, obviously at LSU. When you look at it and look at Auburn, Auburn's playing a lot better than I think we thought they were at the beginning of the year. So there's still some tests down the road for Alabama. But I'll tell you what, I am super impressed with this team, and this team could actually be better at this point than last year's team. Would you agree with that, Martin?
Yes, that's actually what my follow-up question was for you, Joey, is when you look at this team, of course, I think people get these two things mixed up. Nick Saban's most complete team versus Nick Saban's best team.
Absolutely.
Because best team is people going to judge that by whether they win the national title or not. If they do that, then, of course, this will be his best team, be the first 15-0, because I think that's what they're going to have to do, just the way the schedule has laid out now. If they lose now, I don't know if they get back in there because of who they would lose to. But anyway, when you look at this, I think this is, without a shadow of a doubt, his most complete team. But if they keep doing what they're doing, don't get any better, but just play like they're doing, finish out this season, is this, two questions, best team Nick Saban's had and potentially the best one to line up on the college football field?
So I think that's the best one to line up on the college football field among the other 128. But, that could be the arguable question about, is it his best team? All they have to do is win the national championship, right?
Right.
And this is, they're the champions, right? And then we could sit here, and that's what gives us, people like us in the media, something to talk about, right? Oh, was it his best team, or wasn't it his best team? And if they go on to win it, whether, that wasn't such a great team, but they won the national championship. I'm not sure how that wasn't such a great team. So, I think that this year, when you look at it, and I don't want to say coaches work hard all season long. We know that, and they get the well-deserving time off for the months that they do in the summer. I think that this is one of the best coaching jobs that you've seen, when you took a team like this and kind of was like, well, all the quarterbacks and one's leaving now, and whoever knew who this Jalen Hurts kid was at the beginning, and you lost your Heisman Trophy winner, and we know you got talent with OJ and Ridley and and Stewart there. But I think that has a lot to do with it. And when you put that all together, I mean, you were going to be good. I just didn't think offensively Alabama was going to be this good. And I said this like 3 weeks ago, and maybe it's good that, Halloween's right around the corner. This Alabama team scares me, and it should scare everyone else too, because they're scary good. Yeah,
when you look at it, speaking with Joy Lucci, Phil Steele Publications, one of the senior analysts, think about this. The best unit on the offensive side was supposed to be the wide receivers, and they're the least productive. Just think on that for a second. Hey, but let's go to the other side.
But you say least productive.
I know.
Anybody would want those set of guys.
Right. That's my point. Is when you look at it, that was the one thing that we talked about. Man, we got wide receivers, but do we have a quarterback can get it to him? Offensive line going to be able to block, running back, blah blah, and all of those are producing at a high level. All of them, including the wide receivers, are just the least productive.
And that's when I go on shows across the country, everybody keeps saying, well, you know what they got to do? They got to get Jalen Hurts to throw the ball and stop running the ball. Well, guess what? They don't have to worry about it if they can't stop them running the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure Calvin Ridley's running out there, and Stewart and O.J. Howard are just fine, winning, going 8-0, going, you know what? Our rushing attack is just blowing them up. We're okay. They might not have that eye-popping stat, but they're talented. And there will be a game, and you never know down the road that they're going to be called upon, and they're going to be like, wow, they are. So they are talented, and that's the scary part again, that too. I use that word again, but because you never know. So I love it when they're like, all we got to do is get Jalen Hurts to throw the ball, and Alabama's going to lose because they'll put the pressure on him because he's an unpolished passer. Okay, tell me, out of the 8 games that they played, when did they have to even worry about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't see that happening where it's I have to. I think it's be part of the game plan. Hey, let's flip to the other side. Talked about this defense. Unbelievable what Jeremy Pruitt's doing in year one of being the DC here. And
that's a great point.
Yeah.
Great point. Yeah, because you switch to DC.
Yeah.
You got Kirby Smart out there playing head coach, and at Georgia, and you're looking at it, and you're like, okay. As talented as they were, having a different voice there, and that being a player, when you play in college, that could be a big thing because you're like you heard this voice, and now it's a little different. They have stepped up, and and I'm going to say something funny here, and I'm from the Cleveland, Ohio area. Right now, I would trade the Cleveland Browns defense for Alabama's defense right now. We could just swap it out.
We wouldn't. We may not take it. We may not take it. I'm not sure we would take it right now because
and that's I knew you wouldn't. But I like the fact that the player, like the Tim Williams, the Jonathan Allen, the guys that are, what do you have, a rumble and touchdown, the last, fumble return touchdown, and then Tim Allen, and then the secondary at Fitzpatrick. I mean, the guys that are stepping up and playing, amazing, and that's what you want to see happen. So it's just the next man up there, and I'll tell you what, I knew this defense was going to be good, and they're as good as advertised.
Yeah, and when you think about it, you say next man up, think about this for a second, then I want you to hit this Eddie Jackson, what Alabama goes there. But this defense has given up 1 through 8 games. They have nullified all but 1 touchdown and field goals. Whatever number of field goals, I hadn't added that up yet. That's the net. The net scoring on this defense is 1 touchdown and the number of field goals. And if you add the special teams in, I think we're +1. So the only thing we've given up is the field goals. When it comes to net scoring, I mean, think about that when you look at this. And can they continue this? Because you said next man up. Can they continue to be a dominant defense with the loss of that leader at senior, the playmaker, and all of that? And how do you think Alabama will look to replace Eddie Jackson?
Well, I think they can, because a person of his caliber, they lost him, but his experience and his leadership now, will take over in a different role. And that's what you see with good teams. Kind of, okay, I'm going to coach the next guy up, and I'm going to do that. And let's just say the other 10 guys around, whoever, is going to be in there, they're not bad, right?
Right.
They got a lot of guys to kind of lean on and stuff like that. It was a devastating loss, and I was really sad. I love watching college football, and I love the talented players. I don't want to see anybody go out because of an injury. And that's just, to me, that's what the kids go through and what the high caliber of athletes here and stuff like that. So I think they'll be just fine. I think now he turns into a little bit of a different role where, it's more of a coaching role, but he's been there, done that, and can kind of coach up that secondary and stuff like that. But I'll tell you, man, as long as that defensive front, and that's where they'll step up. Hey, we were hurting a little bit in the back. So guys in the linebacker position, the D-line, we got to put a little bit more pressure on and do that, help those guys out, and I think you'll see that. Sometimes when you deal with injury, and I don't know if you have to ever deal with that, Martin, not maybe so much as yourself, but a teammate, you step up.
Right.
Because one of your players is hurting. He would give anything to be out here. So we're going to step our game up. Man, if Alabama's defense steps their game up anymore, oh, man. So I think actually I don't want to say blessing in disguise because, like I said, I never want to see anybody get hurt, especially a player of that magnitude. But I think they'll be just fine. I really do think that.
I'm kind of out on a limb here, Joey, because I said that I think this defense could end the year better than what it is right now. If Minkah ends up at free safety and Tony Brown's on the field and he performs, it becomes an even more athletic and diverse. Yes, I know that's crazy to think about, but I just think that two more quick questions, Joey, and I'm gonna let you get out of here. Jumping outside of the Alabama nation, people saying the cream is rising to the top, talking about Auburn and LSU. I'm not sure if the water level hasn't dropped, but either way, are the Tigers, both of them, for real or not?
Yeah, I think LSU is. I think when we looked at LSU, the biggest thing was Brandon Harris, and I bring his name up because that was everybody was talking about at the beginning of the year. All he has to do is manage, and now he's not even there anymore. And now Les Miles is gone. But I love what Ed Orgeron's doing with that team.
Right. Sometimes
a breath of fresh air. I'm not saying Les Miles was a bad coach there. You just sometimes needed something different because it got stale real quick. And then all of a sudden Ed Orgeron comes in, and you saw they're kind of a different team a little bit. Auburn, I knew they had the capability. I thought they were good. And I'll tell you this, Bama fans could sit there, and I know there's, with the Auburn thing, and I get the whole thing. But it's good when Auburn's good, too. It makes that Iron Bowl that much more special. You kind of do that, and so that's what's good about college football when you have teams like that. Auburn's defense is surprising me a lot. They're playing a lot better than I thought. Looks like they've got things clicked out on the offensive side pretty good. And they're actually traveling to Mississippi this week, who's having a little bit of a disappointing year. I fully anticipate Auburn to have a big road win. Any win's big on the road, but I think that they'll have a nice road win there. So I do think LSU and I do think Auburn are for real. There'll be some big tests for Alabama. I know we'll dissect that game next week and stuff like that. But there's just something a little different about this LSU team. They probably wish maybe they would have removed Miles
last year?
A year. Yeah, at the end. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe would have been and stuff like that. And their defense is good. Not Alabama good, but they're pretty good defense there. And now their offense is playing a lot better. And they've been doing it without a guy named Leonard Fournette, kind of lost a little bit. So that'll be interesting. I'm very much anticipating that game a week away or 2 weeks away now?
Yeah, a week away.
Yeah, it's a week away. I feel like it's 2 weeks. Sometimes I don't like bye weeks for this reason because I'm selfish and I want that game played now. So.
Ditto. Speaking with Joey Lucci, Field Steel Publications, college football analyst. I almost hit the dump button on you when you said yes to that question, Joey. You were supposed to say no, but no. Hey, but you hit the final question I had for you was regarding you talked about LSU didn't make a move, and it looks like Texas is some people say they've made the move. They're Charlie Strong. It looks like LSU 2.0. But my question is Tom Herman? Did his stock shoot up too fast or not? Is he everything that we thought? Because he could be on a 3-game losing streak, struggled against Cincinnati. I mean, what's your thoughts on Tom Herman, and is he as hot a commodity as he was, a month ago?
Well, I still think so. Maybe not in the public eye, but I think so because, and you know who Tom Herman should thank? And he should thank the Big 12 for not expanding. Because I fully anticipate if the Big 12 expands, they take, a Houston, they take the BYU, they kind of do that. And I think that has a lot to play with it. Because now what you're looking at is, okay, Houston's going to be an American Athletic Conference team again. Right. So, looking at it, sometimes you got to look at your family too and say, okay, if I'm going to have this much more and then I'm going to coach at this elite level, I think that, no, I don't think Tom Herman's stock has dropped. I think he was a heck of a head coach. He was an offensive coordinator for Ohio State when they won the national championship. For whatever reason, Houston lost to SMU, and I know what you're getting at, and I can't figure that one out to tell you. And I tried 20 different ways to figure out how they could be. I think me and you, Greg Ward, and 8 other players, Martin, could beat SMU. Yeah, right. I think
I'm trying to figure it out too.
No disrespect, I can't understand that. I just don't understand. But I don't think it's dropped. I think with the Big 12 pulling that, and I don't even want to get into the Big 12 because that was the biggest blunder, one of the biggest blunders I've ever seen. Okay, let's have everybody give us their resumes and do this. And, we're just going to stay pat. We're not going to do anything. Exactly. But I think that's ultimately going to shoot Herman over either to Texas or LSU. Why do I see Herman going to Texas or LSU? I just see that maybe more on the Texas side because I think that was where he wanted to end up and stuff like that. And I think that most likely he'll end up in Texas. But if he doesn't go to Texas, I think he'll end up in LSU. But no, I think Tom Herman's a heck of a head coach.
And ironically, Joey, him going to Texas probably helps the Big 12 more than even expanding would have because it probably immediately makes Texas a contender because the guy can flat out coach. So
can I say? And the thing is, too, Mark, it's sometimes with Charlie Strong, sometimes coordinators and not head coaches.
Absolutely.
And I think Charlie Strong is a great football mind, but I think he's a DC mind. And I think that when you start looking at it, you get to that where you're like, okay, I'm going to be now a head coach. Sometimes just stay as an OC or DC. That's why some of these guys don't take that job. If I was that talented on that side, I would just kind of stay there. It's hard when somebody's probably throwing you all that money too. Yeah. That's hard to reject that. But I think Charlie Strong will be a heck of a coach somewhere. But I think he just takes the coordinator position. That's where I would go.